Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, Sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
You're tuning in to the Goldilocks presentation of the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show with Anthony Rodriguez. Anthony Rodriguez, aka Walking Crow, found transformational energy healing through a personal search into healing and was transformed by this experience. He made the decision to pursue training and has since become a certified energy healing practitioner with an emphasis on working with clients in recovery from addiction. His willingness to be open and listen has allowed him to be of service to many who seek a peaceful, serene, and healthier body, mind, and spirit. Call in now if you would like to speak with Anthony. The call-in number is 713-955-0332. Enjoy this transformational and healing show.
Well, hey there, Anthony Rodriguez here, Walking Crow for the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. Welcome to another Tuesday edition. It's been a week, it's been 7 days, it's been 7 days too long. Glad to have you back here with me today on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon in Los Angeles. Looking out the studio window and there's puffy clouds and blue skies and the birds are chirping and all that kind of good stuff. Today we're going to be talking about what is it you notice, and do you notice? Not just the everyday things in life, but the subtle energies of the body, mind, and spirit. Noticing, are you he or she who notices? And I'm talking about the subtle body energy, the energies of the subtle body, and the things that you see that I see when I am working with people, and not just when I'm looking at them, but looking around them and looking in them and being with them. Yes, the subtle body energies. I am he who notices. I am he who understands. I am he who sees. I am he who hears. I am he who is aware. And are you aware? Have you come into your awareness? Have you come into your noticing? And what does that look like? What does that sound like? And what could that mean for you? That could mean that you look at things in a different way, the way that you've been living your life and the way that you've experiencing things could possibly change. And you may possibly think that you could possibly have been wrong for a lifetime. And then again, maybe not. Once again, my name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and this is the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. Our call-in number is area code 713-955-0332. Be sure to press 1 to get out of listen mode. That way our producer knows that you want to talk to us, talk to me. If you have questions or if you want healing or if you just want to express something about what it is that I'm talking about. And last week we had a pretty incredible show, and it was about coming into, it was about this side of consciousness and coming into your consciousness and what that means for you and to you. This is along the same line of coming into the noticing and the being with of energies and information that are around us and surround us daily, but we kind of overlook. You know, the old song, I'm looking over a 4-leaf clover that I've overlooked before. We overlook things sometimes, and we pretend that maybe that was my imagination, and we don't really look into that anymore. Other than maybe I was just imagining. So okay. But also, I want to talk to you about an event that we're going to be having Sunday, May 21st. And I'm really excited about this because, we've been planning this for a few months now. And it's really exciting, and it's here. And it's the Alternative Healing Artisans Fair for Hands to Health Wellness Center. On the 21st, Sunday, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I am excited. We've got some great people coming aboard and that are going to be with us for this great event. We've got people like Sandra Marshall from Egyptian Essences, and we've got Santa Perversa. She's the healing queen, and we've got Malinali Superfoods, Agua Frescas and Smoothies. They make some incredible drinks. We have a lady named Tracy Pearson and Crystal Magical Creations. We've got Richard Simon Kahn of Golden Sun Astrology. We've got Catherine Lofin of Eternal Glyphics. Boy, we on and on and on and on and on. We have just an incredible group of people. We even have Freddie from Freddie's Antiques. He'll be selling crystals and stones and sacred jewelries. And we also have Karen Cooper. She's a regression therapist and a multiverse worker, and she's an incredible healer in and of herself. And even Audrey Cortez. Boy, those are just to name a few. I'll have a booth and I'll have a space, and I will be speaking. And Dr. Teresa Smith will have a booth, and she'll be speaking. She's the owner and proprietor of Hands to Health Wellness Center, and I'm proud to be able to team up with Teresa, Dr. Teresa, and actually work out of her studio. That's where I do my energy healings, or where I do my work, and I hold events there as well. So I'm excited about that. So come aboard and be with us, and wow, get excited, because this is going to be a fun day of of healing and being with others and community. Also, on June 3rd, starting back on June 3rd, I've been talking about this, Men in Self-Care Miscellaneous. This is the group that I've created and facilitate, and it's a coming together of men in the sacred, non-judgmental safe circle, where men can come into their voice and learn to actually go home and be with their partner, be with their spouse, be with their kids in a different way of speaking, not just walking in the door and kicking the dog and grumbling at the kids and yelling at the wife or getting upset or not saying anything because maybe he won't be loved or he won't be liked, or, whatever the shame may be behind that. We want to remove the shame, remove the stigma, and bring men into their voice and their being, and into a different kind of a relationship with our partners and all those that we come into a relationship on a daily basis. That's starting on June 3rd at Church of Truth, Center for Awakening Consciousness at 690 East Orange Grove Boulevard in Pasadena, 91104. That's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, June 3rd to 3:30. It's a $5 donation. No man will be turned away. The donation is just to pay for the space. Nobody's making any money here. This is just to pay for the space. If you want more information, you can give me a call at area code 818-442-1717, or you can go to Anthony@sacreddrummedicine.com and send me an email, and I can give you more information. So, all right, back to the being he or she who notices, he or she who is aware. What is it that you see in the subtle body when you look at others? And if you look at others and you see particular things, you see auric fields, you see colors, you see energies, you see dark patches, you see cloudiness, you see blocks, you see those things, you know what I'm talking about. I had no idea when I became an energy healer and I started working and practicing in my medicine what that was going to mean to me. I had experienced what noticing looked like while I was in school, while I was in training, but I really never paid much attention outside of that. And it was such a blessing to be able to come into the medicine and be one who knows and stand in it and be able to talk to my clients about that and what that looks like and what that feels like and what that sounds like. And a lot of times when I speak to my clients, they understand and they can pinpoint in their bodies what I'm talking about. I talk about it because I see it in their bodies. And, it could be an emotional issue in the second chakra. It could be about emotion. It could be about disconnection in the second chakra, It could be about no self-esteem in the third chakra. It could be a lack of grounding. In fact, was speaking with a young lady last night. Actually, she's a lifetime friend. She's a young lady, Adriana, who I've known since she was a child. And she came back into my life this week, and we started connecting and talking about this sort of work because she's a light worker as well. And I asked her to send me a picture of herself so we could what? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank today. So I could read her. I apologize. And she did. And the first thing I noticed was her deficiency in her ground. She was deficient in her ground, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I understand that that's the first thing I noticed. And he who notices, and he who sees them, he will understand. And I started asking her questions to that effect with regard to her well-being, her security, her safety, and where she is financially, and is she okay with the comfortability of me talking about that sort of thing with her? Because that's the first thing I was drawn to. It was her feet and her ankles, and she also said she's been having problems with her ankles. So I can be pretty right on with that stuff, and I don't even have to look at you to know that stuff. Once I start talking to you and I start asking you questions, I come into my noticing of the way you talk, the way you say things, the words you use, the inflections of your voice, your doubt, your power of your stepping in, all those things I notice because I am he who notices. I am walking crow, and I'm he who notices the subtle energy of the body and the sound of your voice and the being of who and what you are. And thank you, Creator Great Spirit, for allowing me to come into this power, into this medicine, because this is what I do. So if you are out there and you are wanting to get a healing, or you're wanting to get a reading, or you're wanting to talk about the noticing, because I know you talk about I know you notice the noticing, because you when you walk into a room, you can feel somebody who's looking at you, and you can feel all eyes are on you. Or when you're about to do something, you get butterflies in your stomach. What is the case? What is it? What can it be? How do you feel? And so you're already noticing the subtle energy of the body, and so just be with it and figure out how to use it. Even if you're not an energy healer, you can learn how to be with or a Reiki healer, or a healer, a light worker at all. You can learn how to be with those energies in a good way, and how to change the way that you're with them, so you're not ruled by the things that are happening in your body while you're escaping in your mind. And that's key. I like to teach people how to come out of the escape of their mind and being up in their mind and hiding out. You don't need to hide out, because when you're hiding out in your mind and you're escaping, things are taking place and manifesting in your body. Dis-ease, disease, and lots of it, lots of it. And sometimes it takes different shapes. Well, not sometimes. It always takes different shapes. It could take shape with smoking. It could take shape with drinking. It could take shape as a nervous tic. It could take shape as overeating. It can take many shapes and forms, and you want to be aware of what that is and how that could turn out. When I was in energy healing school, in fact, I went to a pretty cool school. It was called Monhard Institute of Transpersonal Energy Healing. And there was a gentleman there named Dan Boffel, and Dan Boffel was one of our teachers. And he's the one who said to me and said to all of us, "You are he who notices. You are he and she who notices." And I thought, what a weird thing to say. What does that mean? And boy, when I started putting my hands on people as a healer and learning how subtle energy works, it really became real. It really meant something when I put my hands on people and I could start to see and feel things that I didn't ever notice before, and really I didn't notice before. I didn't know what it meant to see subtle energy bodies, or look at subtle body energies, and it changed my life. I have to tell you, it changed my life. Now when I'm going through something, I just don't go through it. I have to sit still, and I have to be still, and I have to seek out help. And there's other people who will tell me and help me and lead me. There's other people who feel my energy. And it's not so much different. I think, well, maybe it is. I don't know. I could be wrong. It's a lot like being like mediums, like people who are mediums and people who are psychics. They see things, they hear things, they feel things. And I do too. But I would never call myself a psychic or a medium because that's not what I am. That's not what I do. I may have some sort of intuitive ability, but not to that degree. So, but that's not to say that won't show up later on, or as I'm in my walk as a medicine man, as a healer, as a shaman, and somebody who is working with others, because Creator, Great Spirit, does what He does, and when He does it, I just have to be prepared and ready to move forward with the medicine, with the energy, with the change that He is prepared for me. And I just need to say, okay. I don't ask questions. I always say, okay. And those of you who know me know that that's for sure. That's for truth. So, yeah, there that is. So, 713-955-0332 is the call number. Feel free to call in if you have any questions or if you have any more to say about what it is that I'm talking about. I'd like to take a moment and thank my producer, Tiffany White, Sage Woman. It's been a week, Tiffany, and I miss you, and I'm grateful and thankful for your work, not only on my show, but on your work on all the shows and all the television shows and radio shows that you produce and you broadcast through Goldilocks Network. And I'm really grateful and honored to be here. All right. So, I'm gonna back up just a little bit. This side of consciousness and coming into your consciousness and coming into your awakening is part of being he who notices. Do you notice the subtle shifts in your emotions and subtle shifts in your physical? You notice the subtle shifts in your spiritual. Are you aware of things when they're happening, or do you get those sort of feelings, those strange feelings? And when you do, what do you do about it? Do you think about it? Do you talk about it? I do shamanic drumming, and when people come to journey, many times after I'm finished drumming, people will say, well, I saw X, I experienced X, but I thought that was my imagination. Well, there's more to the imagination than we think. And noticing the things that we see in different dimensions while we're in the state of journey or in the lower world or middle world or upper world, if you will, while I'm drumming, is not imagination. In fact, for me, it's reality. It's the dream time. It's real time and it's dream time all in one. I live in both spaces. I live in the dream time, even though I'm awake. And when I'm asleep and I'm dreaming, I live in the awake time, in the now time. They're the same. They're one and the same, and they're reflected for me. And that's what I noticed. That's the way I live my life. And I don't have another way to be, although I didn't know this is how my life was prior to 6 years ago. And I have come into the motion rapidly. I have stepped into it, and I'm not afraid anymore. I used to be really reluctant and afraid to really step into it, and I stepped into it fully, and I'm happy that I did, because my life has changed in leaps and bounds, and the lives of others around me has changed in leaps and bounds. And when I'm sitting with you in a room and I'm doing an energy healing session, and we're having a discussion prior to or post session, there's a lot of things that come up, and there's a lot of things that I notice, and there's a lot of things that I see, and I see the changes right away, and I can tell by looking at your face if something has happened, and I can tell by looking at your posture, I can tell by hearing your voice that something has happened. I'm not sure what it is, and you probably aren't sure what it is, but we both know that something has happened, something has changed, something amazing has taken place. Something amazing has taken place. And, And do you notice it? Do you notice it when you're with me? You know, do you notice it when you're on your own? You know, do you notice it when you're in your home and you're looking at your pets, or you're looking at your wife or your girlfriend or your kids, or when you're on your job? You know, I was one day I was walking, and I walk at the Rose Bowl here in Los Angeles, in Pasadena, and as I was walking, I was noticing everybody, and I said to myself, turn that crap off, quit looking at people, because I become open, and I notice, and it was way too much for me to handle that particular day, and I just, I don't want to notice people's stuff all the time, and here it was, person after person after person, as they passed me by, and I kept seeing their stuff. I was like, man, turn it off. And I had to talk to one of my teachers about it, and she said, just don't look at them that way. Plain and simple, don't look at them that way. You don't have to be looking at people or in your medicine all the time, And so I had to learn how to turn that off, how to shut that down, and look at people in a good way. Not that seeing their energies, the subtle body energies, in a good way, but there's a time and a place, and walking around the world will paint it. So my producer just sent me a message letting me know that I'm spacey today, and she's right. I am spacey today. There's a lot that's happened. I actually had a reading this morning from a young lady, and I got some confirmations about some stuff. So I'm kind of like in my heart about it, and I'm really spending a lot of time today with myself. I just woke up before the show from a nap, and I'm just really in my heart space with what's going on with me. It's a place of growth. It's a place of change. It's a place of noticing, exactly what I'm talking about. I'm noticing the energies around me and in me and what's happening to me today. And I didn't know this was going to happen before the show. My producer says, nothing wrong with being spacey. I'm not your Kevin Spacey. Well, I'm not Kevin Spacey. So I'm noticing the subtle energies in my body, and I can't change them. I only and you say, well, you can't change them. No, I can't change the subtle energies in my body. I can only be with them, change how I am with those subtle energies in my body. How can I be with them in a different way? How can I embrace them? Do I repel as if from a hot flame? Do I allow them to change me subtly and slowly and quietly? Do I come into my emotion about it, or do I avoid my emotion about it? And I'm one of those who doesn't avoid emotion about anything. So when emotion comes up and it's in the subtle body, I let it go. I let it go, because I need to not hold on to those things. And I talk about that all the time. What is it in your life that you have not been willing to let go of? What is it that you want to absolutely step into? And if you do want to step into something, you have to let go of something. You have to let go of the blocks that keep you from moving forward and becoming successful and being the person and stepping into the medicine that you are and you have always been. Yes, I know it is to be blonde. Okay, that's very fun. I have gray hair, and they could be misconstrued as blonde. I don't know. Anyways, so subtle energy bodies. 713-955-0332. You're listening to the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. My name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and I'm your host. And we're talking about noticing. People say things to me a lot of times. Well, actually, let me give you an example. Yesterday, I was working. I just walked into I have a part-time job in the store, and I work in the vitamin department. And this lady walked in who I had talked to a couple of weeks ago, and I read her. I forgot all about her, by the way. And I walked into her. I ran into her, and she expressed that, we talked about the subtle energy of the body, And she had a birthday coming up. She said a 35-year-old birthday. And I said, well, we're going to be trying to get into that little black dress. She ignored what I said, and about 10 minutes later, she said, you know, I have to lose weight because I'm trying to get into a dress for my birthday. I said, black one? She said, yeah. And she started to tell me how, you know, she smokes pot. And I said, you know, that's a sign of something when you're smoking, putting something in your lungs. So you need to understand what that is and where that comes from. And she tried to justify it, the smoking. And, well, no, you know, I just need to relax. I said, yes, I know you need to relax. You need to relax when you're not loved, when you're not feeling loved, because it's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety when you love and you don't love yourself, and you're stuffing with food and you can't fit your clothes because you don't know how to stop yourself. You know, and I congratulated on her birthday, and we talked a little bit. And I was, you know, I'm not being mean, but I'm just letting her know that I see her, and she understood. And when she saw me yesterday, yeah, I believe it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. She said to me, oh my gosh, she said, I had my birthday party and somebody stole $200 from me, and somebody stole my pot, and somebody gave me $80, and then somebody brought liquor and somebody stole the liquor. And I was like, really? She said, yeah. She says, you know, I don't know what to do, and I feel like maybe I put all my energies into things that I shouldn't have. I said, well, maybe those things aren't important anymore. You're stepping into a different sort of power, and maybe it's time to let those things as a child go. You know, in religion, they talk about that. The Bible talks about letting those things as a child go and becoming an adult, especially a man. You know, a man will let go of those childish things and takes a wife and moves out of the house of his parents. You know, so we step into other things and other worlds and other ways of being. And when we don't, when we live in the middle world, what I call the fog, things don't always go so easy. We make decisions that aren't good for us, and we live the old life while trying to change into a new life. And it's like we go kicking and screaming. You know, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be difficult. You know, then you don't have to go kicking and screaming. You can go in a good way and make decisions. But do you really want to? You know, I said kicking and screaming, and it reminds me of this verse by the Hot House Flowers. I remember as a little child kicking against a stone I built around myself. I built around myself. I won't give in. I won't feel guilty. I'll just rise up and I'll be myself. I'm just trying to get through. Well, trying is not doing. Thinking is not doing. Talking is not doing. Doing is doing. And you know what I mean. There's a lot of us who say, well, now I don't talk to people. And they'll say, well, you know, I worked on that. Well, what did you did? If you did, why is it still here? Well, you know, I took care of that a long time ago. No, you didn't. I'm looking at you. You know, things like that. And people kid themselves and they pretend that they're doing work because they hear in social media or they hear on television or they hear in the media, they hear buzzwords and those sorts of things, and that people use to make excuses for themselves. And excuses don't get anything done. Excuses only prolong the inevitable of the change that you're either going to go through or you're not going to go through. What is it that you're going to do? What is it that you're going to be? What is it? When are you going to get to that? When are you going to get to that? You know, I believe that the issues that we go through, the issues that we avoid, follow us around like a little dog nipping at our heels and nipping at our feet until it gets our attention. And it's going to get our attention even if we try to avoid it. It has your attention if you're trying to avoid it. If you avoided it, it still has your attention. You just don't know that it has your attention. You pretend like it's not there. There's no pretending. Sorry, it's there. It's the elephant in the room, and you know, and everybody has an elephant in the room, I believe. You know, well, not everybody. There's some people who come into the medicine and come into the healing and come into taking care of those things in a good way, and they learn how to do that. And they do that, and they move on. Then there's people like me who take longer, and like my parents would say in Spanish, I'm a bit of a cabezón, I'm a bit of a knucklehead, and and I need to learn the hard way. And we don't have to learn the hard way. We can come into our medicine, come into our teaching and our being in a way that's good and different, and in a way that blesses us, and blesses others. This young lady I talked about, Adriana, that she was a lifetime friend, and we ran into each other on Sunday at my sister's house. And she was excited to see me, and I was so happy to see her because she was a lovely little child, and I was not very nice to her. And I actually sent her an apology today, and I sent her a message just saying, if I was ever mean to you, please forgive me, And that's one of the things that I've learned how to say is, please forgive me. I deserve forgiveness just like others deserve my forgiveness. It's okay. It's okay to be forgiven. It's okay to stand and be in forgiveness. It's okay. And don't avoid it. Don't avoid forgiveness because it's there for us to stand in. It's there for us to give, and it'll change the life. It'll change our life like we never understood, and it does. And these are the things you can notice. These are the things you can see. These are the things we come away with an understanding of what it is that we didn't understand before. And what do you understand? What do you want to understand? What do you want to stand in? What do you want to be? I remember as a little child hitting against a stone wall, I built around myself, coming into the awareness of what that meant for me. When I heard that verse, I won't give in, I won't forgive you, I just rise up and I'll be myself. And when I came into the noticing of that verse for me and how that worked in my life, I could sit and I could tell you that wall separated me from you and me from God and me from me. And I had to step away from that wall. I had to step out of what that was for me and how that was for me and what that meant to me. And I had to change my life as a result of the noticing, the hearing, the understanding, the being with of the subtle energy, the power of the words in that verse. Once I understood what that meant, my heart started to melt. My heart started to change. I started coming to connection with myself and others. I started to come into a deeper connection with myself and my creator, my God, my great spirit, my source, my universe, whatever you want to call it, the duality, Radhe Umateo, I came into a different way of being, and I came into the light of my being. And I came into the light of my soul, into the light of my body, out of the darkness that I festered in my brain and my thinking, and the escaping of doing that. I no longer escape. I no longer fester. I no longer hide out in dark places. I bring my light into those dark places, and I seek out those things that are blocks in my way, those things that I'm able to see and understand. Those things I'm able to notice and speak to and speak of. Those subtle energies in the body, those subtle energies that are in and around my life, I point them out and I seek and I destroy. And not destroy in the conventional sense, because those things, when they live in your auric field, when they live in the subtle body, when they live in the being, in the soul, don't go away. That's part of your memory, and those things will live there forever. How do I want to be with those things? How do I want to be with things that I avoided for a lifetime or lifetimes? And now I'm here in this lifetime, and here it is again. Here I am facing that subtle energy body, that subtle energy, that thing that I avoided for eons. And here it is. And the example that I'll use is my mommy issue. The issue I had with my mother that, I avoided and I blamed and I was angry, and everybody felt it when I was around at my mother's house, and I was a jerk, and I was just nasty. I didn't have to be that way, but I was, because I didn't understand, I didn't know, and I thought that I was supposed to have the things that my mother should have given me as a child, and she wasn't capable, I understand. No, she wasn't capable, and my father wasn't capable, and I don't have the right to hold their feet to the fire. So I get to say, oh, you know what? Sorry, my bad, and move on with that. I do not have to live in the anger, the hurt, the fear, the shame, the humiliation, whatever it is that was for me. I don't have to live in that. I don't have to be in that, and I don't have to force my mother or others to live in that either. I have no right to do that. It's like waging war. Waging war on people, waging war on something, bringing light on something that has no business having light. And I'm able to stand in that power and my power and understand that, you know what, this is what it was, and it's okay now. I don't have to be in those things. I can let go. I can live and let live. That's what I'll say. I can live and let live, and it's all right. It's okay. I don't have to, force anybody's hand to make them love me, to make them like me. It's all right. I know that my mother loves me, and I know that I am always going to be okay, with her love or without her love, because I can love me, and I can give myself the things that I deserve. I can give myself things. If I love me, love me. If I'm going to love me, love me. And I'm going to love me like I love others. Like I love my mother. So I notice, and I'm he who understands, and I'm he who is aware, and I'm he who is now witnessing the development and the growth of something that I never knew or understood. And I'm grateful. And I'm grateful. And, understanding the subtle energy and noticing, when people are around me, I know when people want something, by the way. I know when people want to get close to me. In fact, I'll use Adriana as that example again from Sunday. When she walked into my sister's house and she saw me, I could see her excitement. I could see how happy she was to see me. And I was happy to see her, and it made me feel good. It was such a great feeling, to not see somebody for years, a lot of years actually, and come into that. And while I was sitting next to her, I could feel her next to me wanting to talk to me. I could feel her energy leaning towards me, and those are the kinds of things that I noticed. Those are the kinds of things that are beautiful to me. The things that I notice, and those are the kind of people that I want to move closer to and closer to, because they have something to offer, and I have something to offer them. We are we are like lights, and I see you. When I say to somebody, I see you, and they're trying to hide from me, and I sarcastically and funny, and I say it in a funny way, I say, I see you, I'm looking at you. I don't mean it in the same way as when I see somebody who is a like light, somebody who is a light worker, and they don't know they're a light worker yet. Or if they do, they don't know how to make the most of it. Because it's funny, because when this young lady said she was a Reiki healer, I said to her, to strengthen that muscle, you need to work on people. and I didn't know why I said that until she made the next statement. And she said, "Oh, I only work on myself, and sometimes I work on my friends long distance and do long distance," which means she isn't really a practitioner. She just means she's playing with it, which is okay. You have to start somewhere. But if you want to strengthen that muscle, and that's what I saw, that's what I noticed, that's what I heard, and that's what I was told to tell her. I was told to tell her, if you want to strengthen that muscle, you need to exercise it. It's like anything else. if you're looking at your chest and you're a guy or a woman, and you're noticing that you want to lift your pecs or you want to tighten your biceps or your triceps or whatever, you're going to go to the gym and you're going to work those areas out. It's the same thing. You notice the energy, you notice what it is that somebody may or may not be doing, and you offer that in a way that's good and maybe helpful. I mean, I don't want to insult anybody when I'm offering or when I'm saying what I'm saying. My days of insulting, I hope, are over. You know, I have no right to insult anybody. I have no right to talk to anybody in a way that's nasty or not kind. And because at one point in my life, or many points in my life, for a lot of my life, I did. You know, I wasn't kind to people, and I didn't know how to be. But it came from my own discomfort as a man, and my own discomfort as a child, my own shame, my own hurt, my own wounds. And these are the things that I noticed as I get older, the things that as I came into my medicine, I became he who notices. And I started to notice the subtle deficiencies in my body, in my mind, in my spirit. And not only did I get to notice those deficiencies, because they weren't just deficiencies, they were the good that was in me as well. And I got to be with those things and understand how I could be with those energies in a different way. And I learned to get closer to them. And I seek out teachers, and I seek out books, and I seek out speakers, and I listen to music, and I listen to meditations, and Buddha meditations, and I seek out gurus, and I seek out different people who can help me in different ways. And my subtle body energy begins to change, and I begin to transition, transform, transcend, transmute. And I begin to go from caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly. But not in one fell swoop. No. You just don't go from caterpillar to butterfly and that's it. I have to go into the chrysalis, in the place of the cocoon, where it's tight and where it's hot and where it's uncomfortable, and where I let go of one body and come into another body with a beautiful, beautiful set of wings and a set of antennae and many legs, and I'm completely transformed, and I look different, not just because I say so, because I notice it, and because I see it, and because I hear it, and I feel it, and I transform, and I transition, and I transmute, and I transcend that old caterpillar self that was left hanging from a branch or under a windowsill or from a leaf or from a tree or from whatever. And I begin to change, and I begin to be in a way that's just amazing. I'm he who notices. I'm he who is aware. I'm he who sees. I'm he who hears. I come into my awareness as a result of my noticing, and I begin to awaken. And that is what this is all about. This is about the awakening of a soul that was so unaware. And I'm not talking about so much you guys. I'm talking about me when I talk about this stuff. I'm talking about me because I was so unaware. And I was so, I was affected by things that most people don't get affected by. You know, I had no idea as a child how hurt I was, how wounded I was. You know, I was hurt and I was wounded by the things that people said and the things that people did, and I didn't know why. But I got to tell you, my life is different. My life has changed. In every situation, I know now that I have something to offer. I have something to give. It's no longer me against you or me against them. You know, and that's really how I grew up. That's really how I was raised. It was me against you. You know, I had to defend myself. I had to put my dukes up. That was the wall. I remember as a little child kicking against a stone wall I built around myself. I had nobody to blame about for that wall other than myself. You know, and the way that I saw things or the way that I didn't see things because I couldn't see, I couldn't feel, I couldn't understand. And now I'm in my awareness. And what happens in my subtle body, in my subtle heart, in my subtle soul, in the subtle energy of my being, the lightness of my being, a hope. And my life is transformed. I have gone from being Anthony Rodriguez or Tony to Walking Crow. I stepped through the veil because I was he who noticed. When I would walk with my teacher Emma, and I noticed feathers off in the distance which she couldn't see, but I kept seeing them and I kept picking them up as we walked. That I would notice mushrooms off in the distance that would whisper to me and call to me from the fairylands, from the edges. And off I would go into a field, and she would say, "Where are you going?" And I'd be in the bushes and in the dirt, taking pictures of incredible looking mushrooms that looked like rocks, that looked like art, looked like all kinds of things, because I became he who noticed. I became he who was willing to see and willing to understand and accept that this is what was happening to me. When will you accept what is happening to you? When will you stop avoiding the things that keep you from your greatness? When will you stop? When will we stop avoiding ourselves? Because we are the greatest thing that we have, and for some reason we keep looking to other things to give us happiness, to give us joy, to give us what it is that we think we're looking for, and that's not it. Aho! Aho! You know, the new smell of a car only lasts a short while. A new car isn't always new. A new home isn't always new. A new boyfriend, a new girlfriend, that starts to fade. A new wife, a new husband, a new relationship, a new taste of ice cream. You know, after a while, your favorite ice cream becomes, you want to try something else. You know, but when will you and I step into who and I am in the subtle body, in the noticing of who and what I am, in the noticing and the awakening of the walking into and the stepping into the power that was given to us long before they took it away from us in domestication, long before they showed us how to sit down, stand up, kneel down, genuflect, raise your hand, put your hand down, get in line when the bell rings. Aho! This is the way many of us have lived our lives, and this is the way we're domesticated. And they stripped us. They stripped us of who and what we were for a lifetime. And now that the lifetime is here, and I am he who notices, I step into my power of my being and the I am that I say I am. And here I am standing in my root. And here it goes again. And I am the tree that doesn't get knocked down by the four winds, because I notice the four winds. I am aware of the four winds. I know what they can do to others. I know what they've done to me. And I stand in my root, my foundation, and my power, because I am he who notices, and I am aware and awakened. Aho, mitaki asira. Aho. I get excited when I talk like that. I get impassioned when I talk like that, because it's so true. It's my medicine. That's the medicine that I step into. Aho. I am he who notices, and I will never be the same as I was in 2011 before I went to Lionheart Institute of Transpersonal Energy Healing. I will never be the same. I will never be a cucumber once I become a pickle. I will never go backwards. I cannot become the caterpillar after being the butterfly. I will always be the butterfly from this point forward, from that point forward. Here I am in my feet, in my heart, in my soul, in my voice, in the power that has always been Anthony J. Rodriguez, Walking Crow, even before I took that name, Walking Crow. Aho! The ancestors knew, and they've been waiting for me. The lineage is there. They had been waiting for me to step into it, and praying for me and crying for me and laughing at me as I fell down and stood up and fell down again and stood up again. Aho! I just got that realization right now. That power, that medicine just came to me, fell on my heart and my tongue right now as I said it. They watched me falter and stand again and again and again. And here I am, and I really feel like I don't falter anymore. And that's not true. I do. But I notice I've come into my noticing, I've come into my awareness that I falter a lot less, that I'm able to make decisions for myself that are good and in a good way. I hope that are good and in a good way. What decisions do you make for yourself, and are you willing to stand in the decisions that you make? Oh, are you willing to stand in the noticing? Are you willing to stand in the being? Are you willing to stand in the transformation, transcendence, transition, transmutation of the person that you are becoming and want to be as a result of being he or she that notices? And if you want to learn more about being he or she that notices, I can teach you energy healing. I can teach you how to look at the subtle body. I can teach you these things. You can reach out to me at Anthony@sacreddrummedicine.com, or you can reach out to me at 818-442-1717. That's my office number. Or you can reach out to me through my website at sacreddrum24.weebly.com. Or you can reach me at 713-955-0332, which is the number for this show, which is the number of the station. You can reach me. What is it that I can do for you? How can I help you become he or she that notices? And, noticing isn't always fun. Because I have to tell you, I've talked about this before. I'm walking through the divorce, and it'll be done in August. It was it was a quick fix, I guess. I didn't file, but the thing about being he who notices, that I would see things in the subtle body of my partner, and she would get upset. Stop reading me. I couldn't help it because I'm looking at the person. This is the person that I'm closest to. It doesn't always go over too well. So sometimes I just need to mind my own business and worry about what it is that I'm doing and how it is that I'm handling things, and understand that not everybody is like me. Not everybody wants to be like me. Not everybody can be like me, or I like them, or do I want to be like them. I need to stand in the subtle energy and the power of who and what I am, and who I was meant to be, and what I was meant to be, and what creator, great spirit, or source, or spirit allowed me to be. And saying that, I have a big part in what I allow me to be. I take responsibility for who and what I am, and who and what I do, and where I go, and how I get there. And if I don't step into my power, and I avoid who I am, by escaping or trying to hide out, eventually, like the little dog that's nipping at your heels, it's going to get my attention. And it got my attention because I noticed that there were people surrounding me, and still are, that care and love me and nurture me. Because I'm he who notices, I was able to meet a beautiful young woman named Ingrid Turner across the office in where I worked. Her and I worked together. And Ingrid Turner left that place of business, and I would stay behind. And eventually, I left that place of business. And because Ingrid knew the work that I did and do in the energy healing world, and in the medicine world that I live in, she invited me to speak on her radio show. And I remember that like it was yesterday. It was last year. And it's because she extended that invitation. It was because I noticed who and what she is, because I did notice that she was a medium. I think I was the one who told her, because I think she was dabbling in it, but not really stepping in fully. And I told her that she was the medium. And it created a kinship between her and I, because I was able to trust myself enough to say that to her because I noticed. And she was able to notice that I trusted her and that I saw her, and she stepped into her medicine more than I think she had ever done And now she's blowing up all over, state of California, from Nevada City, California. She's blowing up, and she's awesome. And I'm going to have her on the show probably within the next 2 weeks. I mentioned this previously, but I'm going to have her probably 2 weeks from today. And that way I'm comfortable, and, she can prepare, because she's doing a lot of different things, and I want to be able to have her full attention. And man, I can't wait. I'm excited. So Reverend Tiffany White, I'm telling you now, Ingrid Turner is going to be on my show in 2 weeks from today. I have to call her and tell her later on today. Send her an email so she doesn't get any surprises. And I can't wait for you folks to meet her. You probably already listened to her show. She's an amazing person, and she's an amazing, gifted medium. And her show, her show, what the heck is the name of her show? Oh, Living in Partnership with Spirit. What a great name for a show. And I'm glad that I was able to be a part of that. She's going out of town in the next 4 weeks. I guess we'll be calling her and telling her she's going to do my show. It's going to be in the UK. Maybe she can call in from the UK and do it from there, because that would be awesome. Who does that? We do. Long distance radio. Anyway, so we'll figure that out. We'll work that out. But I'm grateful to Ingrid, because I saw her, and she learned what I talk about, that I'm he who notices. I'm he who is aware. I'm he who sees. I'm he who hears. And I heard her subtle voice, and I saw her subtle body, and I saw her subtle energy, and I moved close, and I understood that this was somebody who is very special. This is somebody who is very special. But sometimes it doesn't always seem so special to others. And I learned that about myself. Sometimes I'm not so special to others because others don't know how to step into their medicine, or the things about themselves, there are things about themselves that they don't like, and they don't want to see. So they avoid. But not me, not anymore. My name is Anthony Rodriguez Walking Crow, and I am he who notices. I am he who sees. I am he who understands. I am he who hears. I am he who is aware. And I am he who is awake and no longer unconscious. I have stepped into my consciousness as a result of my noticing. And the consciousness is beautiful and translucent and transparent and transformative. All the T's that you can think of, and I'll say them again, they're transmutive, they're transitioning, and transcending. I love doing that. Wow. Okay. Being he or she who notices, I want you to practice, looking in the mirror, and give me a call next week. And look at yourself while you're standing in the mirror, and look at the way your clothing lays on your body. Look at the subtle shadowing in what you're looking at, and where your shoulders may be drooped, or they're pulled back, or your chest is sunken in, or your chest is extended, or your third chakra is extended through a beer belly or belly or whatever it may be. Start paying attention to the subtle body. Start paying attention to the way your feet sit on the floor, the size of your ankles. Pay attention to your ground. Pay attention to your hair and the way you wear your hair, and the way your hair lands on your head, and the way it grows out of the top of your head. Pay attention to your neck. Pay attention to the size of you and how your body is shaped, because that reflects where you are and who you are in the subtle body energy. Aho. Wow, this has been I started off really flighty, and I apologize if I was kind of like spacey. I just, it's just one of those days. I don't have them very often, but here it is. And I'm here, and I'm present. And I want to thank you for coming and being with me today and talking about the noticing, and noticing the subtle energy of the body, and noticing the energy of the subtle thinking, noticing the energy of the subtle being, and noticing and noticing and noticing who and what you are, and even those around you. My name is Anthony Rodriguez, Walking Crow, and this is the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show. And I look forward to seeing you next week, or not seeing you next week, speaking to you next week, because I can't see you. I actually can. And I look forward to hearing from you through my website, or through email, or even through my phone at area code 818-442-1717, Anthony at sacreddrummedicine.com, or at sacredmedicine24.weebly.com. This is, and has been for a Tuesday edition, the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine Show, and I thank you. Aho.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.